Hi guys, welcome back to Red Flag Radio F1 YouTube channel. After 1 week of time off, we are all set for Imola Grand Prix.
Pizza time.
And we are here for the preview, the first race of the much awaited triple header as the European leg kicks off from here. We have got some major news and we are here at Alpine. Franco Colapinto is back.
Woo!
And he has got for only next 5 race contract, which makes it super interesting.
Yeah.
But like we said, he may replace Jack Doohan before Imola, and here we are. Franco Colapinto will be driving with Gasly, man. How are you feeling with that news?
I
think we
nothing
saw
but
that coming.
thrilled. Yeah, we saw that coming, of course, and there were rumors since the very beginning of the season about this. And I was always looking forward to this because I did not know much about Jack Doohan's racecraft. I was just sort of not praying that he does badly or something, but I was hoping that I get to see Colapinto again because I really like Colapinto
What do you mean by that?
as a driver. And I just think it's going to be even more funny that he's going into Alpine because supposedly they're the direct competitors to Williams, and he has driven a Williams just last season, so he may have a general vague idea about how that car behaves, and that might give him an edge against the Williams.
The interesting part is they said that it's only for 5 races. I mean, if Colapinto performs, definitely he will stay till the end of the season. But when I saw that news, I was surprised in a way because we usually don't see a very short contract. And in this season, this is the third driver switch or change for a team because we saw Liam Lawson moving back to Racing Bulls and Yuki Tsunoda moving to Red Bull. So this is the third change and already we are in 7th race.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting considering only 2 teams, went with the same driver lineup which we had for 2024. So that makes it very interesting. But again, the question will be, can Colapinto match Gasly's performance and help Alpine cause that trouble, like you said, for Williams and for as well as to other teams and fight for maybe those lower end points, or if something goes wrong at the top, then fight at the top. Do you think Colapinto can make that happen?
Dude,
Because obviously we saw Jack Doohan was struggling.
Yeah, I
and
think
he was not
even
doing
if he
anything.
doesn't do as good as Gasly, at the very least, he has to do better than Doohan. He should not just fuck up as much as Doohan did, and that'll get him brownie points alone. I know
True.
since he only has 5 races, he needs to score points to, like, even if Gasly is coming 6th and he's coming 10th, it's okay. At least he's bringing 1 point. I think that's what Alpine are looking for. Like, he just doesn't have to be as shit as Doohan.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like by the 3rd race he'll start scoring points. The first couple of races he'll not f it up. He'll just finish the race 12th, 13th, something like that. And then I think 3rd race onwards he'll start getting points, and that's when they might extend his contract. We don't know, man.
I mean, if even in 1 race season points, I think he is already above Jack Doohan just by going with that number.
Yeah.
But I think he knows what it means to come mid-season and drive a car because we have seen he has done that for Williams as well. But Alpine is a team, which is famous for drama and everything going on, considering their team principal, Oliver Oakes. Has stepped down as well.
Yeah.
So
and rumors about that are that it's a legal issue. Like it's not something
With
to do
his
with
brother.
with his brother who owns the F2 team that was formerly owned by Mazepin's. So
right.
it's fucking ekta
Money
Kapoor stuff
laundering.
right here. So yeah, it's insane.
Right, Netflix would be making too much money from that scene as well. Imagine, milking out money from there as well.
I think Drive to Survive will find a way to milk money out of this situation.
But
yeah,
what do you think? How this weekend will be for them in a way?
I don't know.
They
I
had
think
no pace in Miami. They were not looking that fast. Obviously, we have to ignore Jack Doohan's part but Gasly was very close to points, but again, nothing
I
much to show
think
there.
they're doing better at tracks where they can consistently hold high speeds.
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am.
And Miami is not one of those places, right? So maybe they'll do better at Imola because Imola is a place where you can sort of belt your car around a little bit.
But moving on, about a lesser known driver, Franz Hermann. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, this little known driver, thankfully he has got a lot of talent. and no experience at all in any kind of motorsport, and he has no burden of two kids or a wife at home either. So it's good that he's pursuing his hobbies and getting the best out of them, you know.
Okay, just to add some perspective for people who don't know what we are talking about,
Such-
we are talking about Max Verstappen. Like,
Yeah.
imagine becoming a father, getting a week off, and then setting lap records in a GT3 car in Nürburgring, which is, driving hell. While, most people would spend time with family when you get a week off. Max Verstappen can't stay away from racing, man. And people were speculating that he might take a year off in 2026. Seriously.
bullshit.
Exactly, man. Can
Yeah.
you picture F1 without him? Maybe if he decides to go for GT3 car and go for, endurance racing because he wants to do that. But
Yeah, he plays a lot of it on stream on iRacing as well. And Nordschleife is one of the most treacherous circuits out there. So the fact that 1 week after becoming a father, he chooses to go testing in cars that are not as grippy as an F1 car on one of the most treacherous circuits, one of the most dangerous circuits on earth, and one of the longest circuits on earth. You can just go to see what a degenerate racer he is.
exactly, man. It's crazy. But I guess more mileage to add. I guess he never gets bored of racing, man. It's funny, and well, credit where it's due. He just loves racing, I guess. But talking about now Formula One, I think he won't be happy with his performance in Miami. Obviously, luck didn't favor him in any way. But he didn't get any points in sprint. He got P4 in race. So the standards he has, set up for him, he didn't match in Miami. But
Yeah,
what else
and
we can see? He would be looking to bounce back in Imola at least, right?
yeah, he'll be looking to bounce back, but thanks to the people who gave him depression, he may not be able to bounce back as well. But like if he
but
doesn't
there are
have a
rumors
fast
Red
car,
Bull are bringing some upgrades. So
fair, yeah,
never
okay,
know.
fair. But then let's see. He was also given a floor upgrade the race ago, I think, and Yuki was not given, and they had tested that out as well, and he did do well.
Yeah,
Benefit
it will
of
be an
doubt, right?
interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But they need some major upgrades to, be close to McLaren if they can't, go past McLaren. Because if they are close, then obviously Max Verstappen can do his part and create that gap and
Yeah,
be
I think
ahead of them.
Yeah, I think if they have a car just as good as the Mercedes car, Max can do the rest. Because
True,
right now,
that's
Mercedes is definitely the closest team to McLaren in terms of points, right? So,
Right.
yeah, even if they have a car as good as a Mercedes, Max will put it across the finish line after that.
True. So that's how we see it. Again, it's too soon to say because we don't know what teams are bringing for this weekend.
Yeah.
But I feel Tsunoda would be, if there's an upgrade that suits his driving style as well, Tsunoda will be trying to be closer to Max and, top 5 because he's doing well. He's performing in qualifying and he's consistently fighting for those points as well. But again, Red Bull is not a team who is looking for, fighting for those lower end points. They want to see both drivers fighting at least for those top 5. But if car is not there, then obviously we can't blame Yuki as well because he's doing well for that, second driver seat.
We can only just make predictions right now out of thin air because for the audience, we are trying to record this earlier in the week because this week there was no race and we would love to get money from YouTube, so we have to be consistent and suck the algorithm's digital cock. If you guys interact with this video enough, we can get the digital cock to finish on us and get more subscribers later on. So just do your thing, guys. But moving back
Exactly.
to F1, and talking about my favorite team, of course, McLaren. And I think they're going to have another great weekend at Imola. Of course, not from the perspective of Lando. Lando fans do want to kill themselves. I'll admit, little bit me too, but I do love Oscar, so I think that keeps me going, But yeah, I think they're still going to be the ones to beat.
I'm fast as boy.
Maybe they don't do as well in Monaco. That's how I'm seeing it right now from my limited knowledge. I think in Monaco they'll struggle. Someone will out-qualify them, and then you know how Monaco is. You finish when you qualify. But yeah, I think they're going to do great here.
Yeah, I mean, Piastri is on fire with 3 consecutive race wins. and he's setting that bar that maybe I am that driver you have to chase now. That's how the story is. Obviously, Lando started off the season with the win, and we saw Piastri made that mistake in his home Grand Prix. But after that, I can't even think of any mistake from his side. I'm not jinxing it here, but considering how races have went so far, he's doing so well, man. And credit where it's due. I feel he's so calm, and going with that consistent approach, he can continue that performance even here as well. And talking about Lando, I feel Miami was much better weekend for him considering how weekends were going for him so far. So he's keeping up with that pace at the top. The minimum part he has to do is to be as close as Piastri, and hopefully there are more races where he can overtake him as well.
No.
Yeah, and I think another teammate that deserves some attention is Mr. Saap Consistent, Mr. George Snake Russell, latte boy. I don't know if you guys have watched Rocket Powered Mohawk. He is a latte boy, and I hate that.
And a nice latte for me.
But anyway, so talking about the better half of Mercedes, at least for me, Antonelli, it's his home race, man.
Mia.
I think he'll be ecstatic, right?
Yeah.
This is his first F1 home race, I think. And he might be looking to put on a good show. I don't know. Good points finish. Maybe 5th, 4th, maybe even another podium.
I predicted podium last weekend.
Yeah.
Sadly he didn't get that podium.
But
Obviously,
he
I didn't
could've.
predict to get a pole position. Yeah, he
Yeah.
could have. He was unlucky in sprint as well as race as well. But let's see. It's his home Grand Prix, and he visited his school. I mean, he was busy doing his homework in the, in race weekends, that finally he got some time to visit his school, considering this is his home Grand Prix. So, and he got that, celebrity attention, like that cool kid going back to school. Everyone wants to click photo with him. So he was enjoying that, but coming back to, back to that track where he will love to get his first podium. I think the pace he was showing in Miami will definitely put some, spotlight on him in this track as well, because yes, this is his home Grand Prix. That means extra pressure, but extra confidence and, extra boost from the fans. But I think he's doing so well as a rookie driver for a team that is, at least second best or third best on some races. So Antonelli is doing really well. And talking about your favorite driver, George Russell,
that guy,
I mean, he somehow manages to find a place on that podium, man. It's crazy. It's amazing. And anytime I think of a scenario where McLaren boys, decide to crash, I just can't see any other driver winning that race. Even Max Verstappen is there, but I feel Russell will be the first driver to win if something.
I fucking hate him so much, and the part that irritates me more is that you're right. If something happens to the McLarens, that asshole will find a way to do all throughout the race and still manage to win.
And that's the reason why I will bring this question. If something goes wrong for McLaren, do you think there's an outside chance for, George Russell to go and fight for this drivers' championship, considering I think this is the track where they will be bringing some upgrades, and they have more upgrades in pipeline from maybe in Spain and in Canada as well.
I think if something
George Russell in top.
Yeah, I think if I
three,
hypothetically stop imagining the McLaren exists in F1, and if we just think about the rest, I think he'll be immediately contending with Max Verstappen for the championship, and I think against Max Verstappen he'll fold like a $2 hooker. I think going into turn 1 every race, he'll just shit his pants, come third or something, and Verstappen will win mathematically by, I don't know, 15th race or something.
To be honest, I disagree with you on that part, because I feel George Russell is that driver who will go full out attack against Max Verstappen. In a way, they both will take each other out, and probably Ferrari will win.
Right. Yeah, but okay, that would be a great scenario as well, and I'd support that as well. But I think given how, sort of, he has a habit of finding the gap, right? Low budget Ayrton Senna found the gap in Singapore, as we know. So yeah, I think he'll just do that and let Max win for no reason.
That's a very hypothetical situation that we are thinking and considering McLaren is not leaving us. But I think we have to talk about the team who will have all the spotlight here.
It's a Ferrari. It's a shitbox.
And obviously, they usually get the spotlight in any race weekend, but this is the special one. It's the Tifosi's home ground. We are talking about Ferrari.
Shitbox.
The home race is here. I mean, performance-wise, they were nowhere close.
Yeah.
They had too much drama to deal with. Lewis Hamilton was enjoying or not enjoying. He brought his sassy attitude and he wanted to allow Sainz to pass him as well. And Leclerc had no pace as well. They were like fifth fastest team in a way, right? So I don't know. There's not much I can say, but for
Dude,
Tifosi, I don't think that's acceptable in any way.
Yeah, dude, I think if by free practice the Ferraris don't show that they can sort of fight the top teams, which by top teams I mean the McLarens, the Mercedes, and Max Verstappen. And I think if they don't show, at least put one or both drivers in the free practice top three as well, there might be massive violence in it, all across Italy, especially Imola. And I think the first target of that will be both the Ferrari drivers and probably the strategists as well. Like there will be some kind of shootings in Italy. I can tell you that much.
They are bringing some minor upgrades because this is Imola, this is their home Grand Prix. It definitely makes sense to bring some upgrades at least, but I don't know whether the struggle will continue or will they find some pace and find some home motivation to calm these fans down, because from what we are seeing so far, it has been a roller coaster ride like how it always is with Ferrari. But they need that roller coaster to go at top and fight for those wins or at least be on podium, right?
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna get that anytime soon. I just feel like, okay, fine. You know what I think? I think they'll do better than last couple of races. I think we'll see them fighting for 5th, 4th, at least sort of pointing their cart towards the podium, something like that. I think they're going to cause the podium holders, not the McLarens, maybe the 3rd place holders, some trouble. But we're not going to see them win right away. I think maybe that might happen in Monaco, actually. I think one of the Ferraris might be putting on a show in Monaco. It's one of the reasons why I think the McLarens won't do well in Monaco.
Usually this track doesn't suit Hamilton, I'll say, because there's something that goes wrong for him. Like if we talk about 2021, he made that mistake and lost the whole ground to Verstappen as well. In 2022, if I can think about, he was fighting Gasly for the majority of the race and he couldn't overtake. So this is not that track where he performs that well compared to what standards he has set as well. So if he can sort out his qualifying performance in a way and be close to Leclerc and top, I think that's what they need. And hopefully for Ferrari strategists, they would love to have Leclerc and Hamilton as far as possible so that they don't have to sort out any internal strategies in that way, like how they did in Miami, because it was too chaotic to handle.
Yeah, I think you're quite right about that, actually. I completely understand where you're coming from, because if we see them fighting on the track, something's going to happen which will generally involve two Ferraris looking like a pile of ash. But I don't think, I think if that doesn't happen, we'll see some better performance from them, perhaps in the form of one podium and 1/5, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think this is Ferrari's sort of last chance to show us that they've still got something for this season, because I think if in this race also they don't do well, a third of the season, give or take about a third of the season, is done now, and it just sets the tone for the rest, I feel.
"24 hours later."
So moving on to Williams and Carlos Sainz specifically, and we saw recently his teammate absolutely shitting on him by making that comment about the fantasy F1 league and how he's higher rated than Hamilton by just 1 point. But still, the fact that he's higher rated by Hamilton and he's being replaced by him is as Alex so eloquently put,
You've been replaced and you're rated higher. Incredible.
but yeah, Sainz is finally doing well since the past few races. So I think we're very happy to see that he's found his mojo at Williams, and now he can sort of start poking and prodding at the top 4 teams a little bit. At least they can, remind the top teams that if you're not gonna be on the podium, we are. And it is great to see that there is a Williams comeback era along with this Sainz comeback era as well.
Yeah, talking about Sainz, yeah, he's finally getting that mojo back after, he had some tough races initially with Williams, getting a hang of it, like how that car works. But I feel now he's feeling much more confident, and obviously the way he's qualifying, and I should say out qualifying both Ferrari drivers, so he is doing really well for him. And obviously we know Alex Albon has been consistent from race 1. He's getting those points and putting Williams closer to top 4 compared to the other teams at the back end. So, and we have seen this trend, anytime Sainz joins a team, they just start performing well.
I think they just improve more than what they used to be. Like we've seen this with McLaren as well. When he was in McLaren,
Right.
They started to just improve a little bit, and it's enough. In a team like McLaren or Ferrari, perhaps that change is not too noticeable. You're like, oh, okay, aajkal, these days they're getting a podium here and there. Sure, now they're not as shit as they used to be. But for a team like Williams, who has been a backmarker for a bit now, those little changes also show up. And from what we understand right now, the biggest problem in the Williams car is that it's overweight. So if they can just manage to resolve their weight issue, I think they will be fighting for podium soon.
Well, let's see if Ferrari continues to perform like this, and if there's something that goes wrong at the top. So definitely we can see Williams on podium. I mean, it makes sense because they have 2 drivers who are doing so well now, especially Alex Albon, who consistently fights in top 5 now. So if something goes wrong, definitely he will be that driver who can be on podium.
Yeah, but then moving on to the teams that he rejected, he also briefly had a offer from Alpine, but he was like, first of all, they're switching to Mercedes engines, and secondly, we all know how shit the Alpine internal management situation is. Yeah, man, I don't think. Okay, we said, and specifically I said that they're going to do better, and maybe Colapinto gets them some points, but I don't think they're going to do as good as Williams even now. Like in the next 5 races, even when his contract is up, they might retain him, but they're not going to do as well as Williams. This is what I wanted to mention earlier. I almost forgot because we have a drug abuse problem, of course, but but yeah, I think it's not going to work out for Alpine that quickly. But maybe I think the other team that should benefit from a driver change yet again, I think Racing Bulls, man. I don't want to be too harsh, but I think Lawson is just not cutting it, What do you think about that? Like, would you, if you had the choice, if you were Lauren Mekis, would you kick out Lawson by any chance? If you had the power to do it?
I think if we get that trend of, having a performance like that, like how we saw initially for Lawson with Red Bull as well as Racing Bulls, if this triple header goes in a similar direction, I feel his seat will be in danger, especially, when mid-season is almost around the corner with some races to go. And I feel European leg is something where he should perform with Hajar as well. I mean, there's no requirement to outperform Hajar, but be as close as possible and be consistent. But so far, he has been a very messy driver per se, and creating some collisions, not getting involved in places, where you should not be at first place. So he needs to sort out those things, find some consistency, find some performance. And because he can perform, we have seen with the mid-season change he got for I'll say
V-carb last year.
V-carb, AlphaTauri. I was trying to remember AlphaTauri.
Dude, that team.
I was just getting Toro Rosso in my head. Like
Yeah, I think that was the last great generation of that team, honestly. Like, I think after that, it has been pretty much downhill. The way Red Bull plays musical chairs with their drivers, this team plays musical chairs with its name. It's gonna move right along. We're gonna talk about the Green Sharpie F1 team, which is Sauber, still doing f*** all, still looking to do f*** all in the future as well. I mean, I don't know, man. First of all, I just like to point out that WhatsApp should stop sponsoring Mercedes and should start sponsoring Sauber. Same for Spotify. Same for any other brand with a green logo that you can think of. You guys just sponsor Sauber, because that way at least their livery will not have enough space for them to just pour paint over.
The best part is they are at the back, so we usually don't see them quite often. So
yeah, but then that sucks to be a McLaren fan, no? Because when we're overtaking the back markers, we have to see them again. Like, the biggest problem in my life right now is really having to see some more Sauber coverage because Oscar or Lando are fucking blue flagging them.
But with McLaren, you talked about overtaking back markers. There's one team which you forgot, Aston Martin. Another
I
green
was
team.
trying
Maybe
to
they
be
can.
I was trying to be
Maybe they can
sensitive
sponsor.
towards you. I don't know, and I didn't want to take a
No,
dump on
man, you
Aston
can't.
Martin.
See, every race weekend when I tune in, I know I have signed up for this. So
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
apparently there are some hopes that they are bringing some major upgrades to Imola.
Yeah, dude.
To
At
bridge-
least that shows that they have still not given up on this season, right? Like, they could have just
Right.
rolled over and be like, 2026 is our year. F this. We're out. We're gonna drive the car a bunch of times and then we'll see you next year. But at least they're bringing upgrades. At least they have something planned.
Right. I mean, they need to do some hit and trial just to see whether upgrades will work like they have predicted. Because historically, their upgrades don't work.
It is evolving just backwards.
The only positive I can think of Miami Grand Prix was that Alonso was able to, get into Q3 in the sprint, which is something we haven't seen so far. This was like the first time this season where we were in Q3 in any qualifying session. Obviously, we saw Max Verstappen giving him that toe,
yeah.
which was.
But that
which
was
made
a
it-
return favor, right? Fernando set it up without knowing that he was gonna get that return favor. He was just being a good mate, possibly showing Max that, look, if you come to our team, I'm gonna do this every race weekend for you.
But I don't think Alonso would be able to do that from reserve driver slot, considering Lance Stroll will be the driver.
Man, I say these things with this utmost hope in my heart that they're gonna kick Lance out. They're gonna show some semblance of intellect and shoot Lance Stroll at dawn so that he never gets to touch another Formula One car. But I know it's not gonna happen.
Sadly not. He has that lifetime contract, and that's the reason why he has 14 points as well.
Fuck that guy, man. I despise him so much. I'm gonna put up a meme I saw on Instagram here, and I shared it with Rishabh as well. But yeah, I'm gonna put that one up here just for you guys to enjoy as well. Where it goes into a lot of technical detail about why Lance is good in wet conditions and not so consistent in other conditions. You'll see, guys. You'll see.
Talking about the final team, Haas, American soil, but no American points. I mean, that was what we were expecting there, right? Because there was no performance, and unless they give us some out of the box moments, I don't think they will get that many points regularly, right? That's the car they have, especially, with Esteban Ocon and Ollie Bearman doing really well for that team, and there are no internal battles so far, considering how we know how Ocon is with other teammates.
Yeah,
So
dude, for them to have internal battles, they sort of have to be close to each other, right? Most of the time, Esteban is like 7th or something when Ollie is coming in 10th, so their points become neutralized like that. They're not gonna fight anyway. But however, that being said, I think they should replace both their drivers. I know this is a hot take, but I think they should replace both their drivers and they should bring in Mazepin and Danny Kvyat. Those two drivers in the Haas, I think one of them will probably spin or torpedo the whole grid and the other driver will win de facto. So I think that's how Haas can just DNF every alternate race. One of the drivers can DNF and then Haas has 1,000-1,500 points at the end of the championship.
Nikita Mazepin, champion of 2026. Who says no? Everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the only part we can cover about Haas in a way, considering they are not doing much.
Maybe if
on
Danny
track.
Kvyat wins a race with Haas, he can steal one of Max's kids. It can be like a trade.
Oh boy,
But yeah,
that
moving
will
on.
be
That's
too
very
much.
dark. Moving on. His child is just a couple of weeks old. We'll make this joke next year.
Yeah, let's see. But moving on to our favorite part, predictions. It's too early for those predictions, but I think we should go with that and probably give some out of the box predictions and probably come back on Monday to see how we did.
Yeah, dude,
So yeah,
since we're recording this so early, I think this is a great litmus test of how much knowledge we have about the cars and drivers. So either we're going to be accurate and go viral and look like absolute geniuses, or we're going to f this up catastrophically and everyone's going to know just how retarded we are.
probably we will lose some subscribers.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, so predictions for Imola Grand Prix. I think for pole probably, I think pole Oscar, and the race order should probably be. Man, this is tough actually. But
Take your time.
yeah, this is very tricky because now see, I think I keep giving Lando credit, and it might seem like it's undue credit, but I think he can do well. He's just not being able to take it that last millimeter across. Like he's still there and thereabouts in the podium, but he's just not being able to push it over the edge. But anyway, I digress. Finishing order, my guess is probably Max, Oscar, Lando.
You're saying Max will win this race.
Yeah, I think Oscar might take pole. And this is also me stretching it a little bit. In realistically speaking, if I say I think probably Max pole and Max win, but I'm just gonna keep it a mixed bag so that there is more chance of me getting it right and not looking absolutely stupid. But yeah, and my wild prediction is. God damn, I don't have a wild prediction right now, but I'm gonna make something up. You go first.
Okay. This is the interesting part, and probably I will look like an idiot after the race because I have some crazy predictions in my mind.
Go for it, man.
I feel George Russell will be on pole. That's how I see it right now.
I hate
I
that.
saw your face. I saw your face. But I feel he will get the pole. If Mercedes gets some crucial upgrades, and we know how Russell finds his way, probably he will bring that Mr. Saturday vibes that he's famous for, and he will get that pole position. But I don't think he will win the race. So you can be happy with that part. I think this will be another race where Piastri will win. That's how I'll take it, and probably 4 wins in a row. P2, I'm going with George Russell. I think he will lose that lead, and probably he will be able to defend hard because Imola is a track where you can't overtake that easily. So I think he will be able to defend at least P2, be on that podium again. And P3, Max Verstappen. I don't think Max Verstappen will miss the chance of being on podium.
You're
So
saying no
I see-
pole, no podium, nothing for Lando. Like, you think he's gonna be
That's-
5th or some
I think he will be close, probably P4 or P5, but I don't think he will be on podium. That's how I see it.
Interesting.
And out of the box predictions, Franco Colapinto in points.
That's not even out of the box. That's entirely possible because he's just a very talented driver, honestly.
But you don't know, it's his first race, so and with
Fine,
Alpine,
you know what?
so
I'll
I know.
up the ante for you. My wild prediction is Franco Colapinto DNF. Just for shits and giggles, let's go with that. Let's see what happens.
Well, one of us will, create history with all those predictions. I think in Saudi also we had very similar predictions, right? And probably it worked in your favor.
Yeah,
if
but
I can
the
remember.
good thing is that if one of us is right, that's great. We go down in history. If one of us is
One of us.
catastrophically wrong, we still go down in history as the dumbest motherfucker to walk the planet.
Probably me with the predictions I have. Please, George Russell, get that pole position for my sake.
So help me God, I will destroy his car myself if I have to.
But I guess that's an Imola GP preview. Hopefully you had some giggles. Hopefully you will think that these guys are, are onto something, will take us forward.
I don't know,
Let's
we're
keep
on
with
to
them.
something. We're definitely on something though.
I'm speechless, but I hope you guys are speechless as well, and probably you had some giggles. You enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy this video, I hope you will like this video and will show your support if you haven't subscribed to this channel already. So we hope you had great time. You may have some questions, you may have some predictions, so do let us know. Who do you think will be on that podium? Whether Franco Colapinto will shine at Alpine? Do you think Max Verstappen or Franz Hermann will perform well? Let us know, how do you see this race? And yeah, we are excited to see how it will unfold, because another triple header on our way. So yeah, I guess that's all from our side. See you after the Grand Prix. Goodbye.